Welcome, it's another Friday, and this is the Premier League preview show on Citi TV. My name is Nathan Carl. It's always fun, it's always great being part of your Friday late afternoons as you start to think about the footballing weekend. And of course, the Premier League lives on this network, is live on radio on Citi 97.3. And this is the show that helps you decide which game you want to keep your eye on over the weekend. As usual, would love to hear your thoughts and comments or questions or anything you'd want to tell us on the WhatsApp number right there on your screen, 0550-585832. Send us a message whether you're watching us in Ghana or outside Ghana. If you're watching us on DSTV channel 363 and GoTV channel 182, it's an absolute pleasure having you with us. We'll take a very, very snappy break. When we come back, I introduce my guests and we unpack the show. There's a lot to do between now and the next hour, and you're welcome to be a part of it. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. This is the Premier League preview show on Citi TV. Many thanks for staying. We have a lot to talk about between now and the end of the show. And joining me to go through all these issues are gentlemen who are getting match fit. Elikem Avotri is back. He's made another appearance. Elikem, you are building fitness.
Well, it's needed. It's needed. It's a long season, so we need to build fitness.
All right. And Sydney Antonio also joining us. He's not been getting minutes, but we'll bring him in as and when we need a super sub.
A Lingardesque kind of influence on the team.
Yeah. All right. Let's have a look at the fixtures for match week 10. The season is already 10 weeks old. Wow. Let's have a look at the fixtures for match week 10 of the Premier League season. There you have it. It's Leicester City versus Arsenal, starting us off on Saturday. It's an 11:30 kickoff. And then you've got Burnley and Brentford, Liverpool, Brighton, Man City and Palace, Newcastle, Chelsea, Watford, Southampton, Spurs, Man United. And then on Sunday, there's Norwich and Leeds, Villa and West Ham, and Wolves and Everton. Pardon the times there. But yes, so first game is at 11:30. A host of games on Saturday at 2 p.m. And then the Spurs, Man United game, that's at 4:30 on Saturday. The clocks have changed in the UK, meaning that now the kickoffs are 1 hour later. They've been pushed back by an hour. So on Sunday, if you want to find out when the first game of the day is, it's happening at 2 p.m. Ghana time. And then there's a game at 4:30 p.m. Ghana time as well. And then on Monday night is Wolves Everton at 8 p.m. Villa and West Ham, that game is at 4:30 p.m. Ghana time. And Monday night football is Wolves versus Everton at 8 p.m. Ghana time. These times I'm sure are like CET or time in South Africa and all of that. But that's by the by. The fixtures are really what they are, and they are the true representation of how the duels will be played out this particular weekend. Let's start off at Anfield. Liverpool are hot. Liverpool are fresh. Liverpool are still feeling excited after putting Man United to the sword last weekend. They host Brighton, who are managed by Graham Potter. Liverpool are second, as you can see. They've won 6, drawn 3, lost 0. They are looking really good. 27 goals scored, 6 conceded. Brighton are 5th. They've won 4, drawn 3, lost 2, scored 9, conceded 9. So we know what we are getting from Brighton. Not a lot of goals, but the defense isn't the greatest either. They've scored 9 and conceded 9. Elikem, let me start off with you. Liverpool are at home. Last week, they enjoyed their time in Manchester, but they are back home to the comfort of Anfield, and they have to navigate a Brighton team that were very stubborn in that second half against Man City, despite the fact that they lost by 4 goals to 1.
Yeah, they were disappointed in that Man City game, let's be honest, because, I mean, when I look at Brighton and what they've done throughout this season, and the work Graham Potter has done in improving their gameplay and from their build-up and everything, I expected them to actually be put up a bit of a performance against City, but inside the first 30 minutes, they're 3-0 down, and it was good as done in that game. I mean, the second half performance was good. They came back, they fought a bit, they got a goal. They tried to push on, but I mean, this is Man City. Their strength in their team was just too much for them. They now go on and face a Liverpool side that are brimming with confidence. 5-0 wins in their last 2 away games. Going on the road for 2 successive games and getting 6 points with a 10+ goal difference is almost perfect result you need. And they come back at home and face the Brighton side that lost 4-1 last week. I think it's an uphill task for Brighton to go face Liverpool at this moment, brimming with confidence and with certain key players coming back into form. I mean, you watch their game against Watford, and it was a Monday of old resurfacing again. Then against Manchester United, Firmino decided to roll back the years and at least put up one of those performances he's known for. So it is all coming back together for Liverpool, and Brighton will hate to face them at this point.
All right, interesting. Sydney, let's talk a bit about Liverpool. Liverpool were brilliant. Quite tough for people of the United colour to accept, but Liverpool were brilliant. At home, we've not seen them blow teams away this season, to be fair. They've won a lot of their home games. How do they handle the excitement from last week up against a Brighton team who we know can be quite stubborn, can be very structured, can be disciplined? How do Liverpool channel that energy from last week to ensure that they play out another almost near perfect performance on Saturday?
Okay, Nathan, as you've rightly said, Brighton, they are well structured. They have a good coach. They have a nice way of playing. But the difference you can see between the Brighton and the likes of Man City and Liverpool is the quality that that is present in the respective teams. And I don't think Liverpool have to do much, because before the 5-0 results, they have been brimming with confidence. They've been blowing teams away. I think their past 7 or so away games, they have won all with scoring minimum of 3 goals. It doesn't get much better than that. Although the home form is not as impressive as the away form. It's the same way they play. They have the same, the players are matching the same form. So I don't think Jurgen Klopp will do much of tinkering. I think he will just replace some of the injured players. And in fact, all the players, even though they're not playing, they're all brimming with form. They are all doing exceptionally well. So I don't think there will be much difference to their game, to their approach. Although I think last season, Brighton were able to snatch a win when they came up against Liverpool at Anfield. But that was doing that woeful home form of Liverpool. So I don't think this time Brighton have a prayer in this game. Although they have a good way of playing, and they have, they are very easy on the eye when you watch them. But Graham Potter has done a magnificent job transitioning them from the defensive style of their previous coach, and they are now Chris Hughton, exactly, and they are now being more expressive on the ball. They are creating more chances. If you watch a lot of the parameters for possession, for chance creation, etc., if you take out the top 4 or 5 teams, Brighton are the best of the rest when it comes to that. But they've had they are unable to take away their chances. That's been their major problem. So they will do well.
What is it down to? Is it a lack of proper finishes, or the fact that they don't even create a lot? Because I ask because of, look at their numbers. They scored 9, conceded 9.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think the quality in the attacking position. They have Neil Maupay there. They have Danny Welbeck currently unavailable. They have some good players. They have Sean Connolly, Leo Trossard. They have these nifty players in around the box, but they don't have that Diego Costa kind of striker who's going to be forceful and going to push his way into the goal. They are very easy on the eye. Gabriel Jesus kind of strikers, but they don't have an Aguero-like kind of player or a Rooney kind of striker who's going to grab the bull by the horn and march them forward. I think that has been their major problem. But everything else, even their defense, they have conceded 9 goals, but it's not that bad in the grand scheme of things. They have United conceding more than 12 or whatever, unable to keep clean sheets. So, they are doing okay, but I don't think tomorrow they have a chance. But all in all, they are doing fine for the season. All
right, we'll see how that one plays out. It is Liverpool versus Brighton at Anfield. That's on Saturday. Let's move on and let's talk about an exciting one at the King Power. It's Leicester City versus Arsenal. Leicester are doing some great things. They've beaten Man United in the last 2 weeks. They beat Brentford on the road. Arsenal had to, fight off Palace, and then they went after Villa and won that game by 3-1. There you have the tail of the tape. Arsenal are 10th. They've won 4, drawn 2, lost 3. 10 goals scored, 13 against. While Leicester are 9th. They've won 4, drawn 2, lost 3. 15 goals scored, 15 against. So their numbers quite interesting there. 15 scored, 15 conceded. They are performing on either side of the pitch in equal measure. Let me get back to you. Let's focus first on Leicester. After a start that was shaky, they've managed to string together a few wins. They beat Man United very convincingly the other time. Then they had to hold off Brighton, and they had to win that game by 2-1. They come up against a very, I wouldn't say stubborn Arsenal side, but an Arsenal side that's beginning to also get into good gear, and they are showing good sides. From a Leicester perspective, what should be their biggest worry as they face Arsenal this weekend?
Their biggest worry should be an Arsenal side that are beginning to love football again. I'll put it that way. And an Arsenal side that have their best player enjoying the game he plays, because whenever Arsenal have a Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang loving football, smiling throughout the game and scoring goals, they are always a dangerous side to face. So that should be the dangerous part for Leicester City. When they have an Arsenal side that is enjoying the football they play, getting the passes together, and be able to assert their style on the game like they did against Aston Villa, not so much against Crystal Palace. That should be a worry for any team they face. Also, this is an Arsenal side that is a bit resolute in defense. When you look at the kind of defensive solidity they have between Ben White and Gabriel Magalhaes, and even I would put in Takehiro Tomiyasu, who's just coming. Yeah. These guys are building a unit at the back, and with every passing game, they become confident. There will be blips like the one against Palace, where two mistakes cost 2 goals, and I think that last 10 minutes against Aston Villa, where there was a loss of concentration. But in general, since the 10 of the September international break, Arsenal have been resolute in defense, and their captain and their best player is beginning to enjoy his football again.
And there you see Arsenal, Thomas Partey scoring his first Arsenal goal against Aston Villa there. Arsenal looked really, really, really good in this encounter. They won this game by 3-1. Sydney, let's look at it from a Leicester perspective, or from an Arsenal perspective. Elikem has told us what kind of danger Arsenal could pose to Leicester. But when you look at Arsenal, what weaknesses are there that Leicester could pounce on to make this game a very interesting one on Saturday?
When you look at the Arsenal structure, as Elikem has rightly pointed out, since the turn of the September international break, there's been an upturn of form, upturn of results with regards to the way they were playing before. But there are still certain holes that can be punched in the team, certain errors that can be capitalized on. As you rightly mentioned, the Crystal Palace was a blip. They have done magnificent. But if you look at that particular game, Crystal Palace were able to take the aerial advantage, were able to capitalize on some naivety from the Arsenal backline. And if you look at this game, the previous game they played against Leeds in the Capital One Cup or Carabao Cup, yeah, Ben White went off injured, so I don't know if he will be fit to start this game or to play any role in this game. But he's been one of their better players, let me put it that way. And although Callum Chambers came in and got the goal, he's not as solid as Ben White will be. So we're looking at that, maybe Leicester can capitalize on the fact that Arsenal won't have a full strength defense available. And Leicester, we know how they play. We know their turnovers. We know their wing play. We know the quick manner which they transition the ball from the defense to the attack. So we know how Leicester will set up. Jamie Vardy has been getting a rest throughout the season. When it comes to the midweek games, he's always fit and ready, raring to go for the weekend game. So I expect him to pose a lot of danger for Arsenal defense, as he has done so many times in the past at the Emirates Stadium. So Leicester, they know their strengths, and I think they'll stick with that.
Should Brendan Rodgers go with 2 men up top? Because at the start of the season, it was only Jamie Vardy. In the last few weeks, you've seen Iheanacho come in to play alongside him. What kind of combination would make sense for Brendan Rodgers as he tries to beat Arsenal over the weekend?
I think the two top, the Vardy-Iheanacho combination, has been working well in the recent weeks. And Patson Daka could come off the bench. He's been doing very well in the Europa League and the other midweek games, the Capital One games and such. So I think two top, Iheanacho drawing a bit back to occupy some of the defenders, Vardy running in behind, and that duopoly they have over there, it looks very promising. As we're seeing the fruits of it till end of last season. And I think as he has changed back to that trusted duo going forward, I think he should stick with it and reap the rewards from that.
And from an Arsenal perspective, what kind of front line should Mikel Arteta field over the weekend? Several people have been wondering, is it good to have everybody in there, Saka, Smith Rowe, Lacazette and Aubameyang? Should he go with those that mix, or once it is away from home, once it's at the King Power, once it's against Leicester, he needs to be slightly smarter and he needs to be a bit withdrawn just to try and protect his team?
Well, it's kind of confusing, and it's kind of like a worry going into this game. Think with the question you asked me, that preparing in that regard, because I watched Arsenal's 2 best games this season. Was the home game against Spurs and the home game against Aston Villa. In those 2 games, there were 2 different systems. Against the Spurs, he set up in a 4-2-3-1. But that worked perfectly due to the presence of Granit Xhaka alongside Thomas Partey as a pivot, which allowed Martin Odegaard to move forward and express himself. Whenever that pivot isn't there, he has struggled. Martin Odegaard has struggled. So in the against Crystal Palace, he played Partey as a lone six with Odegaard and Emil Smith-Rowe further up the pitch ahead of him. It was a disaster. Crystal Palace totally dominated Arsenal in the midfield. Then against Aston Villa, he played a typical 4-4-2 with Partey and Lokonga holding the midfield. Both midfielders were perfect. That game is different in regards to this one because this is an away game against a side that are very good in midfield too. Because Leicester are going to set up in the midfield three with all teams being equal with Yuri Tillemans and Wilfred Ndidi in the at the base at the pivots of the midfield with and either James Maddison as an EM, judging from what you saw in midweek and the good form he showed, I'm sure he's going to start ahead of them. Are you going to play those two midfielders against these three of Leicester, knowing very well the danger these three possess? So I'm kind of confused. I don't know how Mikel Arteta is going to maneuver his way around this because it is a very tricky situation to be in because here is a case where those two have given you your best performance of the season so far. But then again, you must change the tactics because it's Leicester City. It's a ground that hasn't really been good to Arsenal in the past. So you need to consider all those things. And I'm very confused. I wouldn't want to be in this position right now.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. That's why the managers earn the big pounds. We'll see what kind of tactical decisions Mikel Arteta and Brendan Rodgers will be making over the weekend when Leicester host Arsenal at the King Power Stadium. Let's move on to the next game. Some people have dubbed it the El Sakiko. I don't know why they are calling it the El Sakiko. One manager seems to be safe. The other is teetering on the brink. So why the El Sakiko? I don't know. But officially on paper, it's Tottenham Hotspur versus Manchester United at White Hart Lane. Man United are reeling heavily after that loss to Liverpool. They are 7th, won 4, drawn 2, lost 3. The most recent being to Liverpool. 16 goals scored, 15 conceded. 5 of that against Liverpool. Spurs won 5, drawn 0, lost 4. So they are on extremes. They are either winning or losing. 9 scored, 13 conceded. Sydney, let me take your thoughts. Is it really the El Sakiko? Is it?
I don't. It's a nice phrase that's been coined, but I don't think it's the El Sakiko. I don't think Nuno's position is as.
The Solskjaer's rather. That's
yeah, exactly. Solskjaer's position is very tenuous right now, but I think this game for United fans is very funny because we have fans who are praying for their team to lose so that Solskjaer can get the boots, which is a very interesting dynamic. But it's a very interesting game. Looking at the embarrassing way in which United played last week, the utter dominance Liverpool had over them. As De Gea said, they played like kids in the school ground. So it will be very interesting to see how Solskjaer can mobilize these guys, how he can go against the grain of his previous performances and make them put an actual decent performance for the first time this season.
On the day, and I'll stay with you, on the day, should it be, what should Solskjaer tell them? What should his attention be on? Should it be on a good tactical plan, or he should just remind the players that, look here, we lost 5-0 to Liverpool, we can't lose again, just go out there and get something going?
Nathan, Solskjaer has no tactical plan. What he has to do.
There are those who would disagree and say that he does have something.
See how last time, you see this embarrassing defeat they showing on the screen. See, I don't think he has any tactical plan to move United forward. Okay. What he can do is to just appeal to the professional pride of the players that, see, you guys lost 5-0 last week. I don't think you can go back again and produce a worse performance or an equally bad performance as you did last week. So it only goes up from now. So the best you can do is at least show some courage on the ball, show some determination, prove that you are world-class players and better than these guys. But as to a tactical rejigging, I don't think Solskjaer has it in him. I think he's going to stick with his trusted players. I don't think there will be much changes from last week. I think he's going to continue with Fred and McTominay. He's going to play Rashford, Greenwood, Bruno, and Ronaldo. I don't think he's going to do much. He's just going to appeal to the players and cross his fingers and hope that this time they can do something better than they did last season. And a lot of United fans will be hoping against that also. So very interesting dynamics here.
Very, very interesting dynamic. Elikem, let's look at it from a Spurs perspective. If you were Nuno, how would you feel going into this game? Would you look at this game and say, wow, this is probably a good chance to stick it into Man United. Or if you were Nuno, you'd be worried because United could probably try and find a reaction.
I don't think Nuno needs to worry about United. He needs to worry about his own team.
Okay.
I mean, his team has been horrible this season. Let's not get it. They have a situation on their hands. When you're a team and you have your best player and your top scorer, the guy who literally drags you, not having his head in the club, it's a big worry, and it is going to affect the team. And that's what they are facing right now. So I don't think Nuno is in a position to even think about United. He has issues at home. He has issues at home to solve because...
But they are his direct opponents on Sunday.
Yes, they are his direct opponent, but United's problems shouldn't be his worry. He shouldn't be his worry right now. He should be thinking of getting his main player firing. And that hasn't happened so far this season. And whatever they are going to do, maybe from now to January, to get Harry Kane's head back into Tottenham Hotspur and back to get his mental focus back in the game, should be his focus. Against Manchester United, against West Ham, it was a bad outing. He lost. Losing a London derby is never good for a team that plays in London. I mean, it is going to what is something that's going to set the fans. And this season already, Tottenham have lost already to Spurs, to Arsenal and to West Ham. So the fans are already the fans are on his neck, and he comes up against a Manchester United side that are not in good form themselves.
So good. So it means that the Osakiko is a good title then.
I actually think, in contrary to what Sydney said, I actually think Nuno's job is at stake. It's very much.
So assuming he loses this, you think the pressure goes up on him?
I think he loses this. He has one more game. He loses and he'll go.
Wow.
Because I do not see Spurs sticking with him for so long. I look at Spurs this season, I look at Spurs last. I cannot see any difference he's brought into this team. In the first 3 games of the season, there was all this talk about defensive solidity and everything. Against Palace, they tore them apart. Sorry, the Palace game is also one, so that's 3 London derbies lost this season.
Interesting.
So it's going to be an interesting one for Nuno, because for me, I would be surprised if Nuno this week is thinking about United and seeing it as an opportunity, because he has issues at home to solve.
Well, we'll see. Final thoughts on this before we go on a break, Sydney. Again, with Solskjaer, and I don't know, every time I think about Solskjaer's fate, I kind of find it funny. What should he think about? Should he think about winning this game or just surviving? You know, because in the aftermath of a huge loss, you just want to avoid losing another game. So what should he be? Should it be damage limitation, protecting his United team, or going all out to try and get a win, hoping that it may fight off the rumors that he's going to get sacked?
I think his only focus should be to avoid a defeat. Another defeat on the back of this 5-0 hammering is going to be disastrous for him. A draw keeps him still with a fighting chance of maybe a better result against Man City, which I doubt, but it keeps him still fighting for to live another day. But another loss puts him out of the door. So I think his main focus, I don't be surprised if he goes for maybe a defensive kind of tactical plan, maybe just to keep him motoring on, just surviving, as he's been doing since he came to the club. Just a game at a time, keep on motoring, take one game and see what will happen. So I think that will be his focus, just to avoid a defeat, maybe a draw. If he gets a win, that's praise be to God. But if not, he's going to look for a draw and keep things moving.
Eric, I'm just concluding thoughts on this one very quickly. Nuno, I ask you the same question. What should he think about? A win to ease the pressure, like you've rightly pointed out, or protecting himself and hoping that he gets through this one with probably a draw, and then he starts to think about the next game?
It's a home game. He lost the last outing against West Ham United. This is a home game. He needs to go out for a win. I mean, and like what you said, looking at what happened to Manchester United last week, the fans will be expecting a win.
There will be.
I know for him, he has bigger issues, like I said, but they'll be expecting a win. I expect nothing else but to go all out expecting a win.
Interesting. We'll see. The match that has been lightly called, or tongue-in-cheek, the Osakiko. I just can't get over that name, really. Because you can just imagine what will happen, viewers, in the event where one manager loses this game. All of a sudden, the conversation will change to how much more you have left. And for some managers, this could just be it. should they lose this game this weekend. But that game is also live on Citi 97.3 FM. It's Spurs versus Man United in North London at the new Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. We'll be right back after this short break. Do not go anywhere. The Premier League preview show returns. I'll go through your messages that have been coming in as well. And then we move on to other things we've got to do. We've got a debate, but today we are not doing a debate. But the guys don't know what we are doing. And then we'll do some FPL a little later. But I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. This is the Premier League preview show on Citi TV. A couple of your comments. This one is from Breezy from Dansuma. Liverpool will win 3-0 against Brighton. This one says the oil in Ole is finished. And somebody says if United want to move forward, they should sack Ole. He's not capable. The club is bigger than him. Somebody says United should go for Conte. And a funny one says breaking news. Liverpool has confirmed that Mo Salah wants to leave the club. He wants to join Tottenham Hotspur and play against Man United on Saturday. Interesting stuff. All right, now talking about moving clubs and switching clubs, be ready to do some transfers, be ready to get some wisdom. It's time for the FPL Zone. Welcome. This is the FPL Zone on the Premier League preview show, and the man is back. The institution is in the building. The Oracle is in the chair. Hello.
Hi, Nathan.
What's happening?
I'm great.
Last week, I ate good.
I know. I know you did. And I'm happy for you.
But this week I need to eat more.
Of course. With fantasy, you never stop eating. You can never get too satisfied. Because those behind you are constantly on your neck.
Yeah,
3 players I have this week. 2 are defenders. 1 is a midfielder.
Okay.
First one is Tony Rudiger. Chelsea. They go away against Newcastle, who are struggling. We know Newcastle are struggling for goals. And at the same time, Chelsea have a fantastic defense. They are keeping clean sheet after clean sheet. And it's going under the radar. Now, defenders this season are, and I'm going to use the phrase again, going under the radar. They are scoring a lot of points, but not a lot of people are paying attention to them. Most people are paying attention to the midfielders and the forwards, of course. But with Rudiger, he's got just 5.8 million. And I'm saying this because I'm comparing him to forwards and midfielders also. 5.8 million. With the rates that Chelsea are keeping clean sheets, he's guaranteed almost 6 points every game week because of 2 points for appearance and 4 for a clean sheet. And he's churning out a lot of bonus points also because of his attacking contribution. He moves the ball a lot, completes a lot of passes. So that also adds up to his bonus numbers, and it makes perfect sense. Last week like this, he got an assist plus a clean sheet. He had 11 points in total, 45 points for a defender. He's third in terms of fantasy ranked defender. So he's somebody, if you don't have in your team, he's somebody you should get because guaranteed clean sheets almost every other game week, which is very hard to come by in Fantasy League. The next player is Joao Cancelo, Manchester City's Joao Cancelo. They are at home this time around. They face Crystal Palace. 6.4. He's kind of expensive for a defender. But again, I'm comparing him with midfielders and forwards also. And with 51 points, he's actually tied as the best scoring defender in Fantasy League alongside Trent Alexander-Arnold, who is about 7.5 million. So you look at that comparison, he's almost $1 million cheaper than Trent Alexander-Arnold, but has the same points as him. Of course, Man City are also doing well with their clean sheets. And Cancelo going forward is a real asset. He has assists in him, he has goals in him, he has the passes behind the assist, of course, which for defenders in Fantasy League adds up to a lot of bonus points. So he's somebody you should have in your team, of course, if you are building that solid base in defense. Either he or Rudiger you should have. And of course, with this weekend, the kind of fixtures that they both have. Cancelo facing Crystal Palace at home, where Man City have been brilliant at home this season. I think they've kept about 4 clean sheets at home this season. Expect them to add on to that this weekend. And of course, the captain pick for the week, no prices for guessing, is Mohamed Salah. In fact, look, if you can leave the captain's armband on him for the rest of the season, it won't be a bad decision at all. You can trust me on that. A hat-trick against Man United last week in a game which was on paper was expected to be a tough encounter. A lot of people spoke about his scoring record against Man United not being too impressive, especially at Old Trafford. He came back, bagged an assist plus a hat-trick in that. At home, against Brighton is another juicy, of course, fixture. Brighton, they conceded 4 against Man City last week. And with Liverpool's form this season, remember that they haven't scored less than 3 goals in any game this season in all competitions. They are that good going for it. Ruthless, very lethal. And of course, Mohamed Salah is the one leading that line. He already has 107 points. We are now in game week 10, so you can strike the average. It's just over 10 point something points in every week. Just shows you how good he is as a player and how much of an asset he is as a fantasy league player. Of course, his price has already jumped to 12.9, and it makes perfect sense because when you compare it to his closest rivals,
12.9.
Yeah, you compare it to his closest rivals in Harry Kane, Cristiano Ronaldo, Kevin De Bruyne, and Lukaku. He's miles ahead of them. You look at Ronaldo's average points for a week. It's hitting about, it's going as low as 3, and that is not value for money. Lukaku, of course, with the injury, not value for money. As it stands, you look at Harry Kane, the fact that he scored just 1 Premier League goal this season, not value for money. So the guy who is giving the numbers and the guy who you cannot do without is by far Mohamed Salah. And I'm repeating it again. If you can leave the captain's armband on him, he's somebody you cannot go wrong with the captain's armband. Even if it doesn't work for you this week, you're almost guaranteed it's going to work for you.
You mentioned value for money. There are those who are wondering, is it time to get rid of Ronaldo and use those funds to acquire other pieces in one's fantasy league team?
Yeah, last week I advised that you take Ronaldo out of your team, and clearly we saw what happened. He had 1 point, the yellow card, no goal, no assist, blanked in that game. 1 point for somebody he's costing you 12.7 million makes no sense at all. So I was advising that you take Ronaldo out, and it's still not late because you look at the fixtures United have in front of them. Quite difficult fixtures against Tottenham this week, next week against Manchester City. You don't know how he's going to. And with the form United is in, he himself is not getting in the goals as you expect. Okay. I think he scored 1 goal in his last 4, his last 5, and that is by far no value for money. So you take him out, you put in Jamie Vardy, who is banging in the goals and going under the radar also. He's just 10.8 million. You strike that difference, and he saves you about 2 million in the bank where you can reinvest it into another.
But won't it be funny when Ronaldo starts to get in form again? I think it will be a bit of a struggle getting him back into the team.
Yes, you see, the thing about the fantasy league is that if you are going to acquire a player that costs you more than 11 million, then they have to be hitting double figures almost every other week. And that's what Salah gives you. Because you have somebody like Cristiano Ronaldo who costs you 7 million, 12.7 million. Then somebody has Antonio who is getting him an average of 9 points a week. Ronaldo is giving you 5, occasionally 6. You could save a whole 4 million and reinvest it in other areas of your team. So of course, when you have a player like Ronaldo, Lukaku, Harry Kane, or in fact Ronaldo, Lukaku, and Harry Kane and Kevin De Bruyne, who of course now is being rotated in that Man City team, as it stands, they are not value for money. You need to go for guys who are getting you the goals like Vardy and Salah.
All right, Oracle, let's stay with me. Let's have a look at the fixtures for match week 10. Let me try and squeeze some predictions out of the Oracle before we leave. Let's see if we can get those fixtures there. But anyway, before we even get into the full fixture lineup, your predictions, any 2-3 games that come to your mind?
Of course, you know the one that will pop up first is the Tottenham Hotspur game against Man United.
The El Shakico.
Look, interestingly, I think Man United will get something out of the game.
Okay.
I think that out of the top 6, the traditional top 6 in the Premier League, the best team they want to face right now is Tottenham Hotspur. Okay. And Spurs don't possess that the quality in the right areas to hurt Man United. If you look at the teams that are beating Man United, they are teams whose attacks are a bit quicker and they build with more pace. Tottenham Hotspur a bit slow, and I don't think they will punish the Man United defense as much as you expect them to. But of course, with the absence of Pogba, and we've seen Pogba's influence in the Man United team at the new White Hart Lane Stadium over the past 2 seasons. He's been the deciding factor, and I think that may come and hurt United a bit. But anything but a draw for Man United, and I'll be surprised. For the Leicester City Arsenal game, that's actually the game I'm looking forward to, because these are 2 teams that are slowly beginning to get back on form. But I think with Vardy, Leicester City are favourites. Okay, all right. Any other game that tickles your fancy? Man City will win. Liverpool will win. Liverpool will win. Chelsea maybe could drop points. I don't know. But in as much as Newcastle don't do too well, I just feel there might be a shock. And that shock will come because of Chelsea's inability to score not that Newcastle will be able to punish them at the back.
Okay, all right, the Oracle, thank you very much. Let's have a look at the fixtures for match week 10. Those are the games we will be, you will be enjoying over the weekend. We've got 3 live games on Saturday and 2 live games on Sunday. So we start the coverage on Citi FM 97.3 with Leicester City versus Arsenal. That's the first game of the day. That's at 11:30. And then there's Burnley versus Brentford, Liverpool, Brighton, Manchester City, Palace, Newcastle versus Chelsea, Watford versus Southampton, and Spurs versus Man United. That game is on Saturday at 4:30 p.m. Ghana time. They say whoever loses could probably be out of a job. We'll see if Solskjaer can stay in the job and await what happens in subsequent games. And then on Sunday, there's Norwich versus Leeds. There's Aston Villa versus West Ham also on Sunday. Monday night is that game between Wolves and Everton. Bruno Lage at home. His Wolves team will be facing Everton and Rafa Benitez. They are the traveling side. Let me go through some messages and then we'll call it a day. This message is from Osemenu, aka Sentence from Kumasi. Oh man. This one says, no matter the scoreline tomorrow, Ole will stay till he plays Chelsea. So we get our fair share of the 3 points. Okay, Bra Pope in Prestia Sankofa. This one says, Arsenal is winning by 3-1. This one says, Liverpool will win 3-0. I've read that. The oil in Ole is finished and Old Trafford is dark. Says Ole should go. Ima from Medina. I've read this one already. That says Man United should sack Ole. He's not competent. This one says United should go for Conte. I've read Zico's breaking news message on Mo Salah. And then Gideon from Takrade, he seems to have a bit of a problem. He says, I think you have been unfair to Chelsea fans. Last week you previewed all the matches except that of Chelsea. And this week you've done the same thing. No, yeah, but I mean, Chelsea are playing Newcastle. It's not, I mean, we can't preview all the games. But anyway, we'll be previewing Chelsea games as we go along. Gideon versus Takrade, thank you for that particular message. Anyway, that's our show. Many thanks for watching. We had the Oracle giving us the FPL Zone earlier. You heard from Elike Mavrochi and Sydney Antonio breaking the games down and giving expert analysis on what to expect this weekend. Like I keep saying, the games are live on radio on Citi 97.3 FM. So tune in from Saturday from 11 and enjoy the best of football on Saturday and on Sunday as well. My name is Nathan Kwao. Many thanks for watching. It's been fun bringing you the show. Big shouts to production, everybody who helped make it happen. Lights, sound, camera, floor, directors, producers, everybody. Thank you so much. We do it again next Friday. Do take care. Have a safe weekend. Keep watching Citi TV. 30 minutes is up next. Do stick and stay. We'll catch you next Friday.